saving the day. One comic book at a time. That was awful. That was pretty good. That was terrible. Home heroes. Anything else? Mix your voice in, or put a verse in? I don't know, take the mandolin out. But I can just do that in the editing side. Just take out the mandolin and the voice. The whole thing, really. Alright, let's start the show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Hop Heroes, the show where we talk about our favorite drinks and our favorite heroes. I'm your host, Jordan Arith, and with me as always, we have talented artist and comic enthusiast, J.R. Gonzalez.
Sup, Jay?
What's up, J.R.?
That was cute.
Are you winking at me, bro?
Yeah, that was like very flirty.
It's not subtle at all. It's fucking weird. All right, so we're just going to move on from that. And then we got our third host, Zach Barlow. How you living, son?
What up? I'm good. How are you?
I'm hot. I'm dying.
It's not
but
that
I'm in the presence of love, so it's okay.
Aww.
Oh, God.
Because we have our very special guest, the lovely Samantha Farrar.
Hi, Sammy.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the show. We're going to be
welcome
super
to the
nice
show.
to you today because we're so
Just
happy
today,
that you're here.
Yeah.
We're going to put on airs. And that's ERROR, airs, because we fuck up a lot. So, and then we always got our boy, guy in the chair, Vinny McBroom. How you living, son?
Doing well. Well, side story, my kid is going through his first fever right now, so that kind of sucks. But
Damn, bro, and you're recording an episode of Hop. Dedication, Vinny! That's the
That's what-
shit I like,
we got
bro!
back from the doctor's appointment like an hour ago or something. Luckily, I had all this stuff mostly set up, so it wasn't too bad. But he's sleeping it off right now. He'll be okay.
So you ran the house and just threw him in the crib and then sprinted to the room to record?
Actually, no, I came inside and then tossed him up the stairs, and somehow he got into his crib by himself. So,
Dude, that's like a cartoon. That's impressive.
he's a strong boy.
Well, I feel
he'll
like
be
we're
fine.
having fevers in here because it's 90 degrees in Alaska and we have to shut the windows for the audio. And,
Global warming's a bitch.
yeah, fuck global warming, bro.
Jordan,
Dude,
stop
that's all they talk
complaining.
about up here, too.
Well, yeah, it's a bummer. This shouldn't be this hot in Alaska. I shouldn't have to sweat this much in Alaska. This isn't why I came here.
People up there
Like-
talk about global warming all the time.
All the fucking...
well,
Oh,
all of
God,
our
I would
ice
hate
is
that.
melting and our
Global warming
polar bears
bums
are
me
dying.
out.
I know.
Yeah, it's a sad topic, so let's just move on.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
pretend like it's not happening.
Yeah.
You guys are so
Well, I'm actually
Alaskan
cold.
right now. You bring up freaking global warming in the middle of stuff.
I'm freezing.
It's like freaking wearing on you, man.
Dude, it is. Have you looked a polar bear in the eyes, Zach?
No, dude. I thought we were
break your
moving on
heart.
from the topic.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I can imagine it'd be tough. So,
Scary.
today we are talking magic and
The Gathering.
what it means to us. Not Magic the Gathering.
I was like, what?
No. What
Magic
magic
Order?
means to you. So, Zach, I ask you, at what age did you stop believing magic was real?
I still believe magic is real.
I knew he was going to say
You
that.
believe in magic in a young girl's heart.
No, man. I don't know. I think that I am not a realist out of the group. I
No, you live in the clouds, bro.
yeah, dog. I live in my own world. I just think, to be honest, though, I really do believe that there's things that happen in the world and in the universe that humans can't explain, and I think that science can only take us so far. And I think that those unexplainable things can be called many different things, whether it's like miracles or magic or whatever it may be. But I do think that they exist. Like, I don't believe that humans have everything down. Like, I don't believe we know everything.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And if we did, it'd be a real boring world.
Yeah. So I believe in magic, bro. I never
That's
stopped
the point.
believing in magic.
There we go.
Zach is magic.
That's what I... Oh, don't do this. Don't.
This is
We're
gonna
not sure
be
who I'm
get
going to
him
align
started.
with. It could be
Don't
you
get
or
him
Zach. Let's see how it plays out.
Jesus Christ. So just so you guys know, I got Marcy in my lap, and if me and Sammy are both in this room, she would be clawing at that door, making noise. So she's gonna be on the episode with us now.
Hell yeah, Marcy
We
was
got
good.
2 special guests today.
Yeah.
For you
pretty
audio
magical
listeners,
guest.
Marcy is a dog.
Marcy's our adopted son we keep in the basement. And he'll claw at the doors if we don't let him in. So it gets dark quick. What about you, JR? What's your take on magic, bro?
I love reading about magic. I love being engulfed in magic. I never thought about as magic as real. I guess I am the realist of the group because I never
sure.
thought that magic was real or not. So, but I love reading about it. I love anything magic, anything that sci-fi. Magic is always dangerous too. So, I always love that about it. That's
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. I think that all of us, if we love comics, we love magical worlds. We love the imagination, stretching it out and seeing what's out there that's not real and escaping this world every once in a while. So I think that's what magic is. Unless you're in Paris and you're walking to the Eiffel Tower and there's street magicians,
Oh, God damn it.
otherwise known as gypsies, and
Don't bring this up.
you're walking. And you feel like, okay, you've seen the game a couple times. This is nothing. I can win some money off this. No matter what your girlfriend says, you're going to hop in
It's
and
right
try.
outside the Eiffel Tower. If you've ever traveled ever, you know not to get played by the people playing gambling games right outside the Eiffel Tower. Not to mention the fake crowd around us. They were all very clearly related. They all literally looked the same.
They were cheering me on. They were telling me, you can
So
do it, bro. You can do it.
No. So then we get him that little pouch you put under your shirt to hide your money like a nerd when you go across.
My money wallet that I strapped to my chest?
No. So it's under his shirt. So this fool, in front of these hustlers, goes into his shirt, takes out his secret money wallet.
They're like, oh,
opens
that's where it is.
fully up so they can see his passport, all the money he
Yeah, it
has.
was pretty sick.
Gives him our last 50 euros.
I was showing off. Well, I didn't give him our last
Okay,
50
wait, no.
euros.
How the fuck did we get on this?
Because
let's
I'm just
bring it
saying-
back. We're gonna bring it back.
So
Did
it
they
was-
beat you up and take it?
No,
I almost
bro.
did.
It was the game where they put the ball under the cup and they move the cups around. So glad to have you on, by the way. And they move the cups around with the balls, and you have to guess which cup the ball is in. And I fucking had it, and I
But did you though?
picked the cup.
No, he didn't, guys. Because guess what? Our last 50 euros went to this man as he was laughing at us.
Here's what happened. So I picked
Was he
the
really
cup.
that
No, wait.
fast though?
It was, and they felt so bad for him because he was so easily taken that the guy showed him
Dude,
how he tricked
I
him
knew
afterwards.
exactly what was going on the whole time. I knew
Wow.
No, he
what was
showed us
happening.
how you got tricked.
He ran. Actually, he chased me down. I was like, "Hey, by the way, next time that you."
He just felt
Because
bad.
there will be a next time because you're ignorant. His advice was because I picked the cup and then I take a step back, bring out my money wallet, and then give him my money. And amidst that transaction where I looked down briefly, he swapped the cups.
Oh
And
wow.
then the one I picked was not the one with the ball because it was very obvious. I was like, this is too easy, and I got fucking hustled. And so he runs up to me afterwards, like, hey man, always put your foot on top of the cup when you're getting your money out. That's the trick. So
Wow. Hey, you know what? What a
For
nice
all
guy. That
y'all-
was like Aladdin, dog. He's gonna hustle
he had,
you like he's
jacked
a
up
street
teeth and he had my
hustle, but he's got a
$50 in his
heart.
wallet. So yeah, he's got a heart.
Diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
He knew that it was going to be the wrath of me afterwards because I was just standing with this guy's fucking mom, who Jordan thought was a part of the crowd, shaking my head. They knew I didn't want him to play.
They were all cheering me on. Then we find out they all leave together after I lost my money. Like, oh, for sure. It was a group hustle. So that's my take. That's magic.
That's magic for you?
That's magic.
Wow, what an
sick
enchanting
magic.
life you live.
Beautiful.
honey.
Take risks. Sometimes they don't pay off.
That's just called...
But-
okay, that's gambling. That's not magic.
Moving on. So, the reason that we discuss magic today is because we're talking The Magicians, which is the Lev Grossman novel that got, adapted into a TV series, and now it is its own comic as well, graphic novel. So we're talking Alice's story. And our beverage of the day is
Ugh.
Eliot's
Yikes.
signature cocktail.
Can't wait
who
to see
is-
this.
So he's a famous character from the show, and I say famous because he feels famous. He just has that attitude. He's the best.
Well, and he's, at least in the TV series, and I think even in the book, he's known for drinking quite a bit. So you think he'd have better taste than this
He
signature
always
cocktail?
has something. So this signature cocktail is supposed to be green. Let's just start there.
Oh, God.
And the recipe is 6 dashes of cucumber bitters.
Nope, celery.
Celery bitters, you're right. Sorry. 6 dashes of celery bitters, 1.5 ounces of vodka, 3/4 ounces of creme de menthe, 3/4 ounces of vermouth, and then 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. And I saw a YouTube video on it, and it looked delicious, and it looked cool. It was like neon green.
It didn't look good. It just...
And then I get the stuff, I make it, and it's crystal clear. And looks like shit and smells like bad celery.
Are you sure
So
you got
what
the
do you
right
do when
shit?
that happens?
So we
You
found
put in 20 drops of food coloring that
So
you
we
find
found
in the
some
cabinet.
red food coloring just to add some color to it, so it's not like a glass of water. And in doing so, I spilled all over the counter and all over my hands, and I look like I jacked off the Kool-Aid Man now. So
Mind you, we do have it. I don't know if it's granite or marble. It's some kind of fucking stone countertop. So what you don't do is squirt food coloring all over it because it absorbs into the stone. Doesn't
Anyways,
it?
Nice.
Anyways,
moving on.
we're not gonna talk about that.
So we're gonna take a whiff. It smells like a bad celery field.
I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink it.
Yeah.
Giddy up.
I don't want to.
We got this. Just a sip.
Down it.
Oh my god. I don't like celery bitter.
I thought you not.
Oh my god.
We lost Sammy.
It's like it's fine.
We lost Sammy. I don't know.
All right.
It's not that bad.
Jordan can drink anything, I think. And I've
Just killed it. Bro, Jordan is a tank.
I mean, it's not good. You all right? The creme de menthe really masks.
You drank the whole. You're a fucking monster. No.
Yes, Jordan.
Jordan.
You're making me nauseous. Oh. No.
Oh, that was a bad one. That last one was bad.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad the three of us decided not to do this.
Oh man, I bet chase that with some Cote de
It
Rome.
tastes like a farmer's asshole. Like if he made his own celery and rubbed it around on his asshole. That's what it would taste
What about the
That's
creme
not
de
to be
menthe?
too
Does that
descriptive.
taste like menthol? What does that
pretty
taste?
The creme de menthe actually is the saving grace because it cuts through the.
The celery bitters are what do it.
The celery bitters are what do it?
What ruins
What make
it?
it really bad.
I don't get it. Maybe I overdid the celery bitters, but it said 6 dashes, so I went. Bah, 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 bah.
A dash is not. Wah, 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 wah.
And we're making 2 drinks, so I did 12. So I was just bah, 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 bah. And yeah, we have farmer's asshole drink. So Eliot, I don't agree with your style, but it is different.
Sci-fi. You might want to rethink Eliot's signature drink in that whole YouTube video. That was very misleading.
Yeah, and we'll post that YouTube video on our IG so you guys can see how to make it and how it's supposed to look. And then get the right creme de menthe that actually has green coloring in it. 'Cause don't get the clear one, because then it's just fucking pointless. But moving on, I'm gonna be feeling good in a little bit here. All right, so let's go into the story. How about JR? Tell us what you need to know about magicians, and then let's go into how that relates to Alice's story.
All right, so Magicians was published in 2009 by Lev Grossman, and he talked about having kind of like he did love magic. That was his thing. He loved magic. And he was influenced by the Chronicles of Narnia, Harry Potter. So he wanted to do this magic story and have these people, these characters, kind of more realistic a little bit. Kind of these normal, like nonchalant kind of individuals in his books. And he kind of came up with the character Q. And kind of watching him on an interview, he talked about it when they were doing the show and. How emotional he got about the show coming out and how excited he was about that. But the Magicians follows Q more along the lines, and Alice is basically a character that looks to Q for a lot of the baggage, I guess, right? Kind of like she's emotionally challenged, I think, at times. She comes into a world, she lives in the magic world, and Q does not. But it's kind of like it's not like a regular magic, like if you're going to read Harry Potter or the Chronicles of Narnia, which I've read both, it's not the same kind of magic book. Do you know what I mean? Like when you read magic,
It's a lot darker.
Yeah,
It's
so
a lot
flouncy and light and fluffy.
Yeah, and it's got this like, it's almost like it's not depressing, but it's almost like it's a little bit sad at times because you just you don't get like this, like, you read Harry Potter, you're like excited, there's like action scenes in there. This is more about relationships, more about the
struggle.
The
Like
struggle,
if magic
yeah.
was actually real, I guess this would be
Exactly. And I've actually been told
Magic is
that
real.
when someone actually
We know it is, Zach. We know your magic. We haven't forgotten.
Earmuffs, Zach.
yeah, earmuffs. When someone gave me this book a couple years ago, they told me it's like Harry Potter but in the college realm. So now you got that. It's no longer about being an innocent kid. You've gone through now you're an adult and you're doing all the adult things, and now you got magic involved. And basically that's the magicians, and they there's throughout the book they kind of have no goal in life. They're just kind of learning, and they're just kind of trying to get through school, to kind of like a normal individual does, where they go to college and they're like, okay, what's next after college? And that's kind of what happens in the book. Obviously, that in Alice, it kind of shows that pictation, but yeah, that's the magicians in a quick, light summary. I mean, it's a big, thick book. It's a great book, though.
Well, there's several of them, right?
There's three.
There's three.
Okay.
A trilogy. Yeah.
It's a trilogy.
Yep.
And then the show. So the show was pitched to Fox in 2011, and Fox was like, nah. And then they revisited the pilot and pitched it to Sci-Fi in 2013, and they bought it. And then they started airing it in 2015, and I think Vinny just said they got renewed for their fifth season.
Mm-hmm. That's what he said. Yeah.
So they've surpassed the trilogy.
On their fourth season.
So kind of similar to Game of Thrones, where they were running off a book, and now they're kind of running free.
Are they
and
still
doing their
writing
own
the
thing.
books though, or are the books done and now the show's just doing their own thing?
The books are done. I've never
Yeah.
read the third one. I don't know if it's like an ending or not, but
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of goes in their own paths, and it's
Okay.
things get resolved.
So what would you say, Sammy? Who's like, is Alice a front character in the book and in the show? As like, because this is Alice's story, so this is her side of things. But is she a mainstay in the regular story?
Yeah, I would say so, because Quentin's the main character, and a lot of his motivation is Alice based. I mean, not essentially like up front at first, but I don't know, when she turns into a nymph and he's trying to change her back, and then he's over her when she's brooding, and I don't know, I feel like she motivates a lot of the story because Quentin's obsessed with her.
Okay. And yeah, Quentin Coldwater, I think is his name.
yep.
With the
Pretty
story
cool
kind of
character
revolves
name.
around. So my feelings on Quentin are based strictly off of the TV show, because I never read the books. I only watched TV show because Sammy was into it, and Quentin was a fucking goober. And always like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Very unattractive.
And he had long fucking
Alice could do way better.
dangly hair, and he just wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't my speed. In the comic, he's actually kind of like a mysterious kind of like, still has shitty hair, but he's kind of like different, and like he's kind of cool. Got a cool vibe.
What?
He's just kind of a dick. He's a fucking
dude.
asshole.
I
No, he's-
disagree. I think Quentin sucks.
Yeah.
He does. Okay.
Oh, jeez. Well, he fell
He's-
for Quentin in the. He
I
fell
didn't
for the
know.
wrong
No.
person in the comic.
I did not fall for Quentin. I'm saying that he's just compared to the TV show. Zach, if you've seen him on the TV show,
I haven't seen the TV show at all. So
He's a
let me
fucking
let me
dweeb.
start by saying that I've only
He's
read
not
the
cool.
graphic novel.
Yeah, he's not cool in the graphic novel. He's just cooler than he was in the TV show. I
Damn,
guess
he must
I should
really
say.
suck in the TV show.
He's awkward
ruined
in
the show
all
for
three
me.
phases, though. Like, I feel like he's an
Right. He's
awkward
supposed to be.
individual. Yeah. In all three.
Yeah.
It's just a different kind of awkward. In the book, he's more of like, he actually does, they talk more about his magic with his, like little magic tricks, that he does. They kind of pointed out in Alice's story, but in the book, it's more about, he does little side card things, kind
Like
of
he's
things
a street
that you would-
hustler.
Like
He-
gypsies in Paris.
He's like a
Yeah.
little nerd who got into magic, and nobody really found it that significant, and he was kind of
Right.
isolated. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they found out that break bills was a thing, and then he ended up in the school.
And then he found Alice with big tits and blonde hair.
There
and
it
you know
is.
what they took
Blonde
away
hair?
from me? Yes, blonde
So
hair, big
she's-
tits, short skirts, nerdy and broody. You know what I don't need is another broody, nerdy brunette. And that's what they gave me in the comic.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she
Really
looks
feel-
nothing like
Zach.
the two characters don't look anything alike.
Don't you remember me
No,
throwing a
no.
fit about that when we first started discussing about this?
Yeah,
I downloaded
Vinny
the
didn't want to
sample
do the
for
whole book
and I was like, "What the fuck
because
did
of
they do to
Alice.
Alice?"
right?
Yeah.
Half of her appeal was her big tits and her blonde hair.
Yeah.
That's
saying.
that's the female perspective, you guys.
Me and
That's
Sammy
not
are
us
on
being
Team
animals.
Alice from the
Seriously,
sci-fi show.
I don't need
show.
another broody brunette, a smart brunette. No, I want
There is-
We all know why
hot,
Vinny liked
busty
her.
blonde.
We've reached our quota on broody brunettes.
She is very
What's wrong with big boobs?
moody in the comic book.
wrong with big boobs?
What's wrong with big boobs? She's a great actress.
Absolutely
by the way,
nothing.
first of
Besides
all.
back problems,
First
absolutely
of all.
nothing.
But Zach, like, did you find her to be that interesting in the comic?
I think she was the most interesting character, but that's honestly not saying a lot.
Right, exactly.
And you don't know
I
Eliot.
didn't love the comic. I'm not gonna.
Well, did you feel
there we
any
go.
like emotional connection to anything, or did any of the attachments they had to each other make sense?
No. So I actually have a part that I wanted to highlight in the Beneath the Ink. So I'll say no now, and then when we get to that, I can elaborate.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. Yeah, so the comic basically runs through what Alice's story about how she in the beginning in the show and the book, I believe, and also the graphic novel, she loses her brother, Charlie,
Yep.
who goes to what's the school called?
Break bills.
Break bills, and he's a very excellent magician, as is her whole family. Magic just kind of runs in their family.
Yeah, Alice is like the fucking genius.
JR,
Yeah.
please correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I read the books. Just saying.
Yeah, he's staring.
I
right
also
at you.
I also feel like we should establish that Break Bills is a school for magicians.
It's a
like
college.
it's kind of like or college. It's like kind of like Hogwarts, where
But like if it was
you're-
WSU.
What's up?
It's Hogwarts, but if it was WSU.
If it was
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, that's perfect. It's Hogwarts if it was Wazoo, but essentially, it's if you're a magician or you're magically inclined, then they discover you, and then you show up there and you take a test and you get in, and that's what Break Bills is. It's a
Question
college.
on that for the experts. So in the graphic novel, Alice was not discovered. Her brother was, but she found her way there. Is that how it actually happened too?
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And you find out the reason that she was not discovered was because they didn't want her to go through what her brother went through or understand what her brother went through, right?
Yeah, there was just some kind of tension because her brother niffened out. And then her whole...
Okay, so we've said niffened out twice.
Yeah,
now,
let's
so-
nip. Go ahead.
Everybody doesn't know what a niffin is? I don't...
So what, yeah, if you're listening to see what a niffin is, then niff the fuck off.
Nip the fuck off.
Go niff yourself, okay?
Yeah, just niff yourself in the corner.
God, we're such nerds.
So what does becoming a niffin mean?
JR.
Oh,
I feel like
okay.
you could say
Basically, you go from. I'm trying to like relate this to comic book characters. Basically, you go from a regular mutant to an omega mutant power, right? So you go from basically being a regular human to like a celestial, where you're like so above everything else.
So you go from Cyclops to Gambit, is what you're saying.
No,
Dude,
Don't.
every episode, every single episode, this is what we're gonna do.
Don't get
Every
distracted,
single.
JR.
We're talking about
don't.
magicians right
This
now.
is a fucking
and we
softball,
found
bro.
our way back to
That
Cyclops.
was a layup. I had to tackle that one. Come on now.
Okay.
Sorry, JR. Go on.
But basically, it's just
Coughing on his bullshit is what he was coughing
another
on.
power level. She's so above. When they go nymph.
We're a nymphomaniac. It's
They're
crazy.
just fucking all
Yeah,
over.
when they're just basically there's just another level of magic. They're no longer tangible; they're intangible. Everything is above it all. Like, and actually, at the end of the book, it starts transitioning from first person perspective to almost like third person perspective, where she starts saying. This is what happens to this person, and she starts letting go of Alice. So she becomes a different being altogether, and that's what
Right.
happened to Nip.
And I think that's important to
transcend-
key in on because yes, the being becomes more powerful, but it actually basically kills the person
Yes.
because that person loses their identity. They're no longer Alice. Now they're just power.
They're like a part of the
incarnate.
greater universe and
humanity-
energy.
Humanity's gone. So
Right.
raise your hand if you felt there was a little connection there to Dr. Manhattan.
I saw Dr. Manhattan in that, but I think that's just a generally used archetype character. The all
No, I
powerful,
feel it was cool by raising my hand.
detached.
Now I feel like
Well,
a
you
fucking
were the
asshole.
only one, so.
Well, I thought it was they were blue, and they felt like no connection to humanity.
And they were naked.
and just-
Is that why?
Mainly the naked part. Maybe yeah.
And so now her and Quentin, once she becomes an If, and they can't interact on the physical plane. she just becomes consumed by her power, but it's also in a dark way. So they're very prone to their own whims and, reacting and whatever they want to do.
So do people interact with the Niffins often?
No, and from what I remember from the book and the TV show, it's not easy. You don't just interact with a Niffin. I mean, I remember he had to see her through these mirrors, and JR, do you remember how they interact with her?
In the book, it was almost like a conscious thing, right? Where I think like it wasn't like he physically saw her. It's like she creeped into his mind and almost, like kind of like Vinny in the chair when he's talking. We're like, what?
What's that?
The fuck did that come from?
What's that?
We both went the
Bro,
wrong
Vinny's
way.
a Niffin.
What?
Vinny's a Niffin.
What?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, sorry, nympho, not
It
nympho.
all
I don't know what
makes
you're talking
sense.
about.
He's a
What are you talking- I
nympho.
don't know what you're talking
He's like, what? But yeah, in the book, everything is like, so one of the biggest problems I had with it was the details were completely missing, like out of the graphic novel compared to the book. And that kind of sucked for me because I do remember the scene, like Lev Grossman as a writer is an amazing writer. Like the details and like you get sucked into the book. Like you reading like
You're
word for
emotionally
word. I remember
invested.
finishing that book in less than a week because you couldn't put it down because he just sucks you in. In the graphic novel, I did read it fast, but I felt like there was so many things, so little things gone from the book to the graphic novel that it was just easy to read, and it was tough to read, but it was there's just so many things missing. I mean, there's just that. I guess your mind takes you, this book. The book takes your mind into a place where the graphic novel wouldn't take you because you're visually being stimulated instead of mentally being stimulated by the book.
I feel like when you showed me what because again, I've only read the graphic novel. I haven't read the book and I haven't seen the show. When you showed me the book, what it even looked like, how thick it was, I was like, whoa. How did they fit all of that
Right.
into the graphic novel that I just read? Because it took me like an afternoon. And I feel like at the end of that afternoon, the details, it seemed to me like the graphic novel skipped large pieces of time. Like
Absolutely.
first
didn't
they're starting at
understand-
break bills, and then the next couple pages, now they're on their final year, and then the next couple pages, now they've graduated, and then the next couple pages is like they're older now. And I just feel like by the time the final battle happened in the graphic novel, because they had moved so fast through these characters' lives, I didn't feel any weight. I just kind of felt like, oh, sure, why not? Like it just kind of washed over me, and I felt like they really wanted that to be like a weighted situation, like, oh my god, here's the final battle, the monster is actually somebody they know, the big reveal. But by the time I got there, because I went through the graphic novel so quickly, I just didn't really care.
I didn't either, and I like the story.
Yeah.
Reading that graphic novel, I was like, wait, why did I like magicians? Like,
I think that's a great point, and I think that might be touching in the Beneath the Ink. I'm not sure, but I think that in general, it was like they even mentioned it in the story. Like in the real world, you have to wait 3 years, but since I can skip ahead, that's what we're gonna do. And they skip ahead like 3 years.
Right.
And it's like, what the fuck?
well, and they wanted you to value these relationships or these
Right.
events as much as you did in the book or even the TV series, but
Right.
they gave you nothing to create that value or that attachment. They just had them. So it's like I actually wanted to ask you guys as I was reading this. So when you create a comic after the fact of like a TV show and books, are you creating it for existing fans or are you creating it to create new fans? Because if I was somebody who had not heard the story like you, Zach, I would have been like, this is fucking stupid.
That's
If
a
I
good
just read the
question.
comic.
That's a good question. I think that it needs to be for existing fans, because because I'm new and I saw this and I have no desire to watch the show or read the book after the graphic novel. Although I know it's a huge there's a lot of fans and that's great, but I didn't love the graphic novel. But I also think that it all depends on how you approach it, right? Like you could do multiple volumes if you really wanted to invest in these relationships, and then that might work out. But for me, for this in particular, I think this is probably cool for existing fans because you get to see what Alice looks like compared to the show, and you get to get mad, which kind of sucks, but it's still like you being invested and involved in like the world as a whole.
Anticipation
New fans,
for it, right?
I think this is not a book for this is not the way you should enter the story, I guess, or the world. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And going off of her earlier point and Vinny's point, like, if you're going to focus a story around one character, like, at least match the character up. Like, I feel like Eliot looked very similar to the Eliot actor and what Eliot displayed maybe not. Quentin looked exactly like him, but like Alice is a complete knockoff. Penny is nothing similar to what Penny looked like in the show. But I did do a little research, and in the book, Penny apparently, and you can answer this for me, was less social and more like prickly.
Well, so unfortunately, because I read the books a few years ago now, and I've watched the TV show more recently, they blend together for me. But from what I remember, he's very antisocial. He's incredibly good at his, I can't remember the name of the magic where he can travel.
Teleport and stuff.
Yeah. And he is not like he was. And by the way, he's very good looking. He's very fit. He doesn't have the weird mohawk. And when Alice
Penny in the comic sucked. It looked like one of Brandon's douchebag friends that's like, Brandon's my brother, and he was in a rock band, and he had friends, and I love all of them, but there's some fucking gutter dwellers there, and they fucking have this green
what did you
mohawk
call them?
Shit.
Gutter?
What?
gutter dwellers?
Oh, gutter dwellers.
I'm not saying Brandon's friends. The friends that are Brandon's, I enjoy. The people that follow them, like you see them in the mosh pit, you know? They have the jorts, and they got the green mohawk, and they got the gauges that hang down to their fucking tits. Like, it just didn't work for the character, in my opinion. But go on.
Well, I don't know.
I didn't mind Penny.
Really?
What?
No. Okay, I did. Wait, hold on.
I'm not
I did
gonna
as
lie.
a female because she fucks him in the books and on the TV, and she does not regret it that much. Let me tell you, she had a good ass time. Penny's
In the
a
books
looker.
and the TV?
In the TV, she doesn't regret it. I'm assuming, because in the book she regrets
Well,
it.
she ends up eventually regretting it because she like loves Quentin or whatever. But in the moment, she's not like, "Ugh, this is the worst."
No,
he has
Penny-
this horrible mohawk. He was a good looking guy.
In the
just saying.
TV show, he looks like Colin Kaepernick with like a better nose. So he's good. Handsome,
He does.
tatted up, light skinned dude. Like, I mean,
He's like wearing scarves
Bro.
too, like these like weird like hippie scarves.
he does not look like you, Zach. Don't get excited.
Penny is Jacob.
He does a little
Quentin is Edward. Alice is Bella.
Oh, we're going Twilight references here. Oh shit! Wow,
We're about to
Let's
lose
we
notch
were
out-
a little taken aback there.
Let's notch out 3 more hours, and here we go.
Also, in the comic, did you guys find Quentin appealing or like? I feel like he was fucking
Quentin
rude to
sucks.
Alex.
I
When
thought
has he
Quentin
been
sucked
appealing, though?
overall? All together, he sucked really bad. He was just holding Alice back, bro. What the fuck
Yeah.
did she see in him? Like, what did he bring to the table?
And
I
she
just
was
don't
not.
understand.
He's the chosen
She
one.
was not that obsessed with him in the other storylines. I felt she was obsessed with trying to revert her brother from a Niffin back to his existing form and investing her knowledge and her time in magic. She wasn't like, I live for Quentin. Everything's for Quentin.
Hold on. One thing I disagree with that is that he wasn't obsessed with her, or she wasn't obsessed with him. I'm sorry. She was interested in him because he was so different, and that's what she kept saying. Like, he has something deeper. I'm gonna investigate. I need to research this. It was almost like a research
She wanted
study.
she wanted to like figure him out.
Yeah, it wasn't like she like loved. I mean, she,
Yeah, but okay, but the thing
But
is,
that's a form of obsession, I think.
well, she found.
Listen, you guys don't get it because they didn't explain the whole part where she's not emotional. When she came from a family where emotions are so foreign to her, and it didn't make any sense to her. And that's her attraction to him. They're such opposites that they can really like work and benefit off of each other. But you don't get to see that in the. I don't know, JR. What do you think?
Well, I could start with Quentin. Quentin in the book was he was always kind of the weaker like lead character, right? Like I always felt like okay, this is like you're getting really into my like geeky like this is like I'm glad I'm married kind of.
Let's get in
situation.
there.
Dive deeper.
Yeah, this is geek deep. So
Geek deep.
I've read the Harry Potter books and I've read the Percy Jackson books, right? And anybody who's read those 2 books kind of always compared. And the Harry Potter books, like there was times where you wish Harry Potter was like super strong, right? And he just wasn't. Like he had to depend on other people. Well, in the Percy Jackson books, Percy was like a beast. Like he could destroy anything on his own. He could stop gods. He could. He didn't need an army. But they, throughout the story, eventually they start having other characters involved. But in his first 5 books, it was about him, and he was super strong. I felt like Quentin was like Harry Potter, where he was like the leader of the book, but he was also the weakest player of the book. Like his magic wasn't the best. In fact, there are times where he, I felt like people died because he just didn't investigate or didn't do the magic right, or he was too scared to do this. Like, I don't think we should do this. Like that point where they're like, we should go back in the graphic novel, like that is times 10 in the book. So he wasn't like a very strong leader in the book at all either.
Oh, sorry. Do you remember when he told Alice, when Alice was like, Quentin, I don't want to go in there, and he was like, well, then go home.
Yeah.
Like and I was like, whoa, that's not their dynamic at all.
Yeah, and it kind of switched on him a little bit. Like he was like in that part, but it throughout the most of the book, he was just so weak. I mean, he really wasn't strong at all. I felt like the Magician's book, it was all about the women in this book. It was all about all the side characters and that surrounded him. As for Alice in the book, I don't remember the description of what she looks like. I do remember the description of how she felt, and she was very moody, and she was very introverted, right? And I think that I don't remember exactly how she felt towards Quentin. Like, I don't remember the obsession. I do remember her being stronger than him, and I do remember him leaning on her. And they're having like the first time experiences, you know, like when they got together as foxes, like that was an intense sequence in the book.
That was so weird in the graphic novel.
But it was
like, what?
They didn't portray it the same.
So for those that didn't read the book yet, they get turned into swans or seagulls.
No. Okay,
and then they get turned into foxes and they fuck. And
that's a different time. I know, but they're two separate occasions.
That's the first time they mate. They get turned into these animals.
Yes, they get turned into these geese and they fly off into Antarctica and they hook up with this professor who fucked a student, so they isolated him out there. But he's a really good professor, and then he's like, "Hey guys, I'm just gonna let you have some fun and romp around in the snow." Turns them all into Arctic foxes. This was the first time I was sexually turned on by a sex story of foxes. I gotta tell you, it was an intimate, very no, it wasn't not time, it was
so
like a really intense.
Foxes really get you.
Now I have a fox fetish and it's ruining my relationship.
Jordan's probably got like furries. Like he's a furry
Amazon orders
in the closet. He's got like paws and a tail and shit. He's just like
with the ears.
I can open my closet.
Ears, like.
Yeah, I make him burrow into the covers.
Actually, I turn into a gopher and she's really not into it.
But that's how exciting it was. That's how well written it was when they fornicated as foxes. It was a really important part in their relationship.
Yeah, they describe the sexual encounters too.
In the graphic novel, it happens in like 3 panels.
Yeah.
What?
It's like first they're foxes, then they get a little bit closer, then they fuck, turn the page, new thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like who the like if I was you, I'd be like, who the fuck cares?
Like,
why are you fucking as foxes? Yeah. It'd be like, yeah.
But it's more intense in the book for sure. Like it is more like erotic in the book, and it's very intense.
It's very intimate, and it's not grazed over.
Yeah.
Obviously,
they did that a lot in the book. There was a lot of like, let's move on. Like Zach was saying, let's move on. Let's try to get to the end very quickly. So they did that a lot. Yeah.
What about Julia?
Yeah.
Did Julia have a lot in the graphic novel? Because I didn't read the graphic novel. She was in the TV show all the time.
She was barely in the graphic novel, but she's barely in the first book as well. Like, she's barely, she's more prominent in the second book, Julia. She becomes extremely strong.
Wait, JR, I'm confused. Janet versus Margot. Was there was only a Janet in the books, right? Margot was television?
Yes, I don't remember a Margot.
I don't know who Margot is.
She's only
she
TV based. She's like Eliot's she's like his sidekick.
So I don't know the answer to this, but I did some research and they said that the one character that they forced into the TV show that wasn't in the book was Katie, which was Penny's love interest.
Penny's girlfriend,
Alice.
Yes, that's true.
But they didn't say anything about Margot. So Margot might have been in the book, but I didn't read it.
No, it wasn't. I read the summaries against it, and I believe there was no Margot. There was Janet. They replaced Janet with Margot in the TV series.
I was about to say, don't you think maybe Janet was Margot? Or
no,
vice
she
versa?
Totally was.
Yeah.
But like Janet was not as fabulous as Margot was.
Margot was awesome. Margot was
so they
head
just
bitch in
changed the
charge.
name. I see where. Yeah.
I'm just wondering why. Like,
it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is kind of weird. But in the graphic novel, it seems like Janet is like Regina George, kind of. Like,
Fetch?
Right, but Margot's very similar. Yeah, no, it's super similar.
Yeah, super.
So
sexual,
maybe it's the same character then.
Yeah. No, it's like that in the book. Yeah.
Because is Janet in the TV show?
She's Margot.
She's Margot.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They just
same
changed her name.
character, different name. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just wondering why they decided to. It's just a very similar character. I don't know that was necessarily they didn't need to change the name and like the hair color. I don't know.
Right.
I thought that was weird.
It's weird.
Right.
Yeah, it is weird.
It is very weird, and so, easy, girl. I feel like with
She's hot.
I know it's really hot in this fucking room.
Jesus Christ.
So with the whole like transition, like how do you guys feel about the characters from the book to the TV series to the comic book? Who did it the best? Was it the TV series or the comic
Well, the
book?
book. That's why anybody
No,
wanted to talk.
I'm sorry. The transition though, like obviously the book did the best, but the TV show do a better job than the graphic novel did.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Not to
Well,
answer
they-
for everyone, but
I feel like they changed it a little bit. I only saw the first 2 seasons of The Magicians. I felt like there was a little bit of a difference between the book and the TV series. Like they didn't exactly follow the book. Like there was more in between. Obviously, there's more relationship stuff. They added some characters.
But did
Penny-
you feel like the sentiment was the same?
It was hard because Penny was so involved right away, but not in the
Sure.
book.
Right.
And so I kind of got thrown off by that when he was so strong. I felt like Penny in the book and in the graphic novel was a background character at all times, but in the show he's part of the major
It's at
cast.
the front.
And so that kind of threw me off a little bit. The show's got a great look to it, and obviously they picked pretty people, so like that's why Benny really loves it.
Ooh, call out.
Shots fired.
You little slut, Vinny.
Nah, I'm just joking. I love Vinny. He does so much for us. We're gonna get him.
save.
Vinny, don't leave us.
Nice save.
Finny, please don't leave.
I just stopped recording.
God.
It's,
Stay in the chair.
Everything's done. We're shutting down everything.
He's done. He
Deleting
walked out.
accounts.
This
It's all
episode's
done.
over.
It's all done.
But it was a hard thing for me to swallow on the show. I liked the show only because it was fun to look at and it was fun to like get engulfed, but it didn't exactly follow the first book. This adaptation of the graphic novel followed the book exactly from like what they showed in the graphic novel. I mean, obviously they're missing stuff, but it was exactly from the book, just with the adaptation with the words and the art. But they're missing so much because it's too much. Like the graphic novel would probably be like 3 times the size, right? It would probably be way larger.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Yeah.
is there
Exactly.
only plan to have one? This is it?
This
to
is
explain
it.
the
This-
whole.
Well, it's Alice's story. I mean, it's over.
But that. Oh,
Yeah, it's only following this first book from. I bet you they're gonna try and follow Julia. I bet they'll do an adaptation for Julia at some point. You know what I mean? Or
Julia's
I bet you
story
they-
is really cool, and it's very dark because
Yeah.
she doesn't get accepted into the school. So she
Yeah.
turns
And-
into like the dark side
Yeah.
of magic, if you will.
but the coolest part is it's all essentially planned. You find out at the end.
Yeah.
Which
See, I didn't
don't
read the
know if
third
we-
book, so that's pretty cool.
Oh no! So okay, it's really cool because the like lead professor guy and everybody and the Watcher woman, they were looping time over and over again because these group of kids were supposed to kill. I
Martin.
keep calling him the Mothman, but he's like a tree guy.
Oh, is that in
Martin's
the
the
But
bad
they-
guy to the listeners.
Yes, but they weren't getting it right, so they kept resetting the clock again and again and again. And one of the things they found out during the resets is that Julia would not reach where she needed to reach, like magically, emotionally, whatever, unless she was rejected from the school. So they actually planned. She would have been accepted, but they
don't
planned to
remember
do
that at
that to
all.
her.
Damn,
I gotta read
that's
the books
deep.
again. Yeah.
Julia's character arc is pretty intense, but it's like in the background for a lot of the beginning, and then towards the end, it kind of just shows what her path was, and it's just dark,
Gotcha.
evil, worshiping different magic gods and stuff. It's
Getting raped by a fox god.
She got
yes,
raped.
the fox
Yes.
god
Okay,
stuff.
But here's
is
the thing.
intense.
Here's the thing. At least you got something out of it because this is a little aggressive, but his cum gave her a little extra magic.
That's
She did
true.
become strong.
There we are.
No, it did. It literally did in the.
Was it a fox god?
Yes.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
a
this
trickster
is-
god, and
This is for the
because
furries.
he came
Hey,
inside
Jordan's
of
part
her
of that
after he
clique
raped
now.
her, she got extra strong powers.
Damn.
Right. Yeah. and
So,
that-
she
so
better
this
get something
character
out
in
of
the
it.
graphic
Like,
novel
fuck.
existed for another. This is another 3-panel situation.
yeah.
Oh, there's Julie. She didn't get accepted. She's kind of dark and weird. Next page. Like I just feel like
That's
it
such a
was
drag.
very glossed over that entire.
Yeah, you probably don't know who she
basically wasn't
is.
in the graphic novel at all.
No,
Right,
and
yeah.
isn't that in the second book though? I feel like this Alice story is only for the first book, but the whole Julia stuff comes into play in the second book.
Second book.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
why it's not in the graphic novel because
Oh,
that
so
stuff
they
comes
were
in the
they were
second
just
book.
only trying to address the first
But
book.
correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong. Alice is still in the second book, right? Because in the end of this graphic novel, she's gone.
where she becomes. But as a Niffin, you're not gone.
She's no longer Alice.
Right? I understand, but Quentin ends up communicating with her again and using a spell to what's a good word, Jer?
Reanimator?
Reanimate her into a person.
Nice.
So she comes back.
JR with the vocabulary drop.
JR, can you turn a freaking
Look at that
light on in your dark ass
lexicon.
cave? We're
You're
on
making
video
it
now,
hot in
bro.
this room because nothing
Come
gets my
on,
girl hotter
Jesus,
than
be
vocab,
professional.
so.
Well, my earpiece just fell out. That's how excited I got.
She got
so.
real excited. Oh my goodness. Well, that's okay because that's where I was confused. I was like, is this graphic novel really traversing the trilogy? And then it's just like that quickly. But if she goes and then comes back and there's still more to her, that makes much more sense for me.
Yeah, but who cares about this? I wouldn't want to read the second one. I'm not invested.
If they did another graphic novel.
Oh no, right.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
saying
just-
like in the books. I was just confused.
Yeah.
I was just confused. All right, well, what do you got for our Beneath the Ink segment, Z? This is where we dive deep into what the underlying storyline is and how it relates to our current civilized day and our current culture. What do we got going on, Z?
Okay, so I have a theory that I'm going to argue, and I'm also going to...
What if we agree? How are
Yeah,
you going to argue?
you just assume.
What do you mean? I'm gonna argue my point. Like you can either accept it or reject.
You
It's
can
not
state
like
your
set in
point,
stone.
but we could. If you state your point and we agree, how's that an argument, bro?
Oh, well, you might not agree. But I feel like it's considered argument.
You know I'm
if
not
you
going to
are
agree,
agreeing.
so that makes
He
sense.
just knows you.
It's just
Anyways, no.
it's a reaction.
Hush, Jordan up. Go, Zach, go.
And I also have an announcement at the end of this, so stay
What?
tuned. Okay,
I
so
love Zach announcements.
the main theme, in my opinion, of this graphic novel was essentially that this was a story about expectations not being met once you reach them, or I would call a greener grass narrative. I have a couple different examples, but essentially, so in the beginning, they're all obsessed with this book, especially Alice. She's obsessed with this book, Fillory. Or that's not what's the book called?
Fillory. No, you're right.
Okay,
But that's the name
yeah,
of the
Fillory.
land. It's
And
Sorry, JR.
she is like dreaming about this book, wanting to be a magician. Her brother goes to the school, and that's all she wants, right? She's not happy with where she is. Way down the road, she actually ends up in this world, this Fillory world, where she finds out one of the characters in the book, Martin Chatwin, who she kind of was part of this book, so she really looked up to this character, but was mysteriously gone, and they might have saved him. Ended up being the Beast, and ended up being kind of the main villain and who she had to fight in the end. So the first, what would I call this? What is it? Just the box. What's the box called in the comic?
The panel.
Yeah. The first panel is from when Alice was sent to the south, and she had to walk through the Arctic, and she used the magic to like shield herself. It's all yellow, and it says, "I often seem to find myself fighting against the elements. Why doesn't the world ever seem to want me to get to where I'm going?" So she's not focused on where she is. She's already focused on where she's going. And she's feeling like this like pushback of her character trying to get to where she's going. The next panel is from the same kind of scene. She's still in the Arctic. She's starting to break from her yellow armor. And it says, "Which gives me an idea. I can make entropy my friend." So I looked up entropy. Entropy is lack of order or predictability, gradual decline into disorder. I believe this is another example because she in this moment is saying, "I'm going to make entropy my friend. I'm going to make disorder my friend." But then once she gets to that point, because once she graduates college, she's with her friends and everything's in disarray. Everybody's partying and drinking and fucking around, and she fucking hates it. But if you go all the way back, this is kind of what she wished for, this disarray. Like she's trying to make that her friend a part of her life, and her friends do that, and it ends up kind of backfiring. The next panel is when right before the demon gets put in her back. And it's the teacher talking, and he says, "No, I think it's because you're unhappy. Magicians are strong because they feel pain. You feel the difference between what this world is and what you would make of it." So it's talking about what the world is, the difference between it, what the world is and what the magicians want to make of what the world is. And there's a difference there. There's a distance between these two concepts and these ideas. The magicians and these characters do not accept what is for what is. They're always looking to change what could be.
Okay, can I interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
Because that's my favorite part. Is that in like Harry Potter and in most magical movies, it's all about the beauty of magic in this mystical place and this mystical realm that you're gifted with these abilities. And in this book, in this comic, in this show, it's about how much pain you have. And the more pain you have and the more reality you have is the stronger the magician you are. And I feel like that's just so different. And it's dark, yes, but it's almost like if you consider talent, like the most talented people, and I hope I don't step on your toes here, Zach, when you're going forward, but like the most talented people when it comes to fame, and they reach this pinnacle where they have nothing, they have no consequences, they have not, like they're wealthy, they've accomplished everything. What's next? And they resort to drugs, they resort to something to challenge themselves, to explore. And like that seems to be so interesting. Like it's almost like talent and magic are in the same conversation when they reach their magical peak.
When you become bored and unchallenged.
Yeah, you explore, and it's kind of like The Boys, like we just did. Like they are ultimate beings, and they get bored, and like boredom seems to be like the common theme that leads to the dark path.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's a very negative, very vicious cycle. And I think that this kind of trope is not uncommon. It's done in a lot of different ways with different stories, and I think it's always been done because it's like almost trying to teach us a lesson. Because if you're always focused on your destination, your next destination, and I'm super fucking guilty of this. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm this type of person. Yeah. I'm the type of person where like if something accomplishes, people are like good job, and I'm just like already on to like my next goal. Like I don't even care anymore. I'm over here.
Accolades,
I'm trying to get the next one, but you're never satisfied. You're never happy, and that kind of cycle is a contributor to what you're talking about, Jordan. When celebrities like all they want to do is make it to the NFL. That's all they want, and if they could just make it to the NFL, then they're going to be happy. But once they make it to the NFL, they realize like they feel how they felt the day before they made it to the NFL, and that can be a really destructive time.
Except now they have $100 million to fucking fuck everything up.
and honestly, I feel like it destroys these characters. I mean, Alice just loves Fillory. She loves, this whole story. And then she gets to the world and realizes it's not what she thought it was. And then has to fight this beast who she once looked up to. And then she dies over it. Penny loses a hand. I mean, it's like this really negative kind of thing where if all you care about is what you can change or what's in front of you or what moving forward, you start to lose sight of what is. And that's a very destructive thing. I have a couple more panels. The next one is Alice. She's pissed off for some reason. I kind of forgot exactly why. Probably at Quentin because he's a fucking douche. But
he's the worst.
He says, but that's not how life works. And then she says, no, in life you have to make your own meaning. Why is that so hard for people to understand? So she's just talking about how it's all about her meaning and like what she wants and all of that moving forward. I also think that this could be what dreamers do. Like, I feel like if you're a dreamer, then you're always kind of like projecting what is or what you want, and you're kind of losing sight of what is in front of you. I'm super guilty of that. This is kind of a long segment, so I'm going to skip the next two panels. I'll put it on the website, though. The next thing I just wanted to talk about is how... So Quentin fucking cheats on Alice. This is beyond the segment, but he cheats on Alice. And then there's a part where, like, Quentin gets mad at Alice for fucking Penny. And I just want to say, what the fuck? Like, how could you be mad at that? So let me just read the panels real quick. So this is when they're like, shit's fucked. They're in Fillory. He cheated on her first, and she fucks Penny. And then Quentin's like, why are you even here or whatever? And she's like, oh no, he says, well, why did you fuck Penny? And then she says, to get back at you, and she's all teary-eyed and weak, which is like not like her. She's a beast before. But anyway, because I was feeling like shit about myself, because I didn't think you would care. I don't know. I understand how much... I don't think I understood how much it would hurt you. Who cares how much it would hurt this guy? He fucking cheated on her. And then his response is, just stop thinking. I can't hear what you're saying anymore. Just stop talking. That pissed me off, bro. Like, who the fuck are you to talk to her like that? That is bullshit, bro. Dog.
Dude, Q's the chosen one. He's the Harry Potter of the story.
Fuck
He
Q.
goes where the fuck he wants.
Fuck you.
I fucking hate Q. Wait.
Yeah, he sucks. Just a couple more things. I want to highlight just a couple more really popular narratives that are also greener grass narratives. The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is a greener grass narrative. Jay Gatsby loves Daisy. He finally gets Daisy, and that bitch sucks real bad. Sansa's love affair with Joffrey in King's Landing. Greener grass narrative. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. It's another greener grass
Are you
narrative.
just pulling shit out of our book club that we had for 3 weeks? So
Nope. Never done a book club, Jordan? Never done
We
that.
had a very intimate book club. So
That wasn't intimate at all.
references literary
And
knowledge.
now on to
Hater.
the announcement. I do have a couple more examples, and I've decided I'm going to turn Beneath the Ink into a blog series. So every time I do Beneath the
I
Ink,
thought
I'm going
you
to
were
write a
announcing
blog
a
post about
pregnancy.
it, and I will post it on the website. So next week when this episode drops, I will have
more important.
more information, more narrative examples, and a more fleshed out version of what I'm talking about here on the Hop Heroes website page. at
Zach, I'm sorry. Can you
arzenif.com.
re-explain Beneath the Ink to me?
So we haven't really explained it. So yeah, for the people that don't know what Beneath the Ink is.
I'm a noob.
No, this is a good question because we haven't explained it. Jordan, go ahead.
So Beneath the Ink is the cultural and underlying themes behind the comic books that we read. So it's basically, you look at the illustrations, you look at the pictures, you look at the word bubbles, and they're fun, they're interactive, but what's deeper? What's underlying? What's the theme?
Are we thinking of the theme and the time it was written, or relevant to now, or both?
That's the beauty of it.
It can be both.
The beauty of it is a lot of the glorious comics, a lot of the comics that are put into the realm of appreciation are actually really fucked because
Well,
of
because
the
they were
underlying-
written in the...
Exactly. So that's what makes it current, and that's what makes the conversation about current thought processes compared to the 60s, the Golden Age, the Bronze Age, the Silver Age. They're so much different. Like when it comes to like gender roles and all that.
Well, that's really cool, Zach. That's fucking exciting. And you're going to put it where?
I'm going to put it on rzenith.com/hopheroes. I'm going to put it on the Hop Heroes webpage, and I'm going to put a link right under Meet Your Host. So it's going to be called Beneath the Ink. You're going to click it, and it's going to go to a Beneath the Ink blog, and every segment I'll just kind of flesh out more stuff, add pictures, add panels, add more examples. I have more examples here, but I'm not telling them to you because I want you to check out the blog.
Ooh, you
That's some Patreon shit, dog.
you little teaser. Well, I'm sure you guys will put a link to it on your Instagram or something, right?
Yeah.
So you guys can go right to it.
Yeah, so our Zenith is Zach's website where he's promoting
Oh,
everything.
you
So
know, that's really
kind of
cool.
that's
Yeah, I
kind of
saw some of it.
That's the mothership.
Guys,
right
you
now.
got to go check it out. It's pretty fancy.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into plugs, do we have anything else we want to talk about on The Magicians?
I do. I just want to talk about the art on the cover, of course, because that's
Okay.
me. So this is an
I thought the
actual
cover is
really
dope.
good artist. He does all the cover art for Buffy the Vampire Slayer right now, and his name is Steve Morris. And
brunette. I'm sorry.
if you look at the he does this amazing stuff. It looks realistic, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. But if you look at the Buffy the Vampire stuff, all that stuff looks just like that, which is a realistic art. You know, colors bright, dark, whatever it is. It's a really good stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up because I don't think anybody would have known that cover on there is from a legit comic book cover artist.
Nice.
So.
I'm just
love
saying
it.
it could have been as cool if she had big tits and blonde hair. I'm just saying. I think it would have actually enhanced the cover.
She's not wrong.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, she's not wrong. All right. Well, we plugged our Zenith, which is our mothership for all creatives. Creatives are welcome. If you want to see any podcasts, Zach, how about you just throw in a little bit more of the week because you got some new stuff posted on there, right?
Yeah, man.
the
So
creator.
we have a blog that's not Beneath the Ink. It's kind of just a more general blog that I'm trying to post once a week on. Jordan, I believe you're working on a post for that too right now.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
that's
Kenai River,
yeah.
the allure of a king.
Ooh.
Did you get goosebumps?
Zach, why the fuck are you doing this
She
to me in
got
our
goosebumps.
relationship?
She got goosebumps.
Why are you giving him more platforms?
She can barely sit
Anyway,
right now, let alone
shut up.
stand.
Let him promote this. We can't even stop talking.
We also have a
Stop.
couple other podcasts on there. We have Tectonic Shifts. We just released an episode about Facebook cryptocurrency Libra. That's really cool. We have Sleep Easy. We just did a review on YBN Corday's The Lost Boy, which if you have not heard that album, please fucking listen to it right now because it is a instant classic. I swear to God, that dude is nuts. He's 21. He's pretty new to the scene, but he's a
What kind of hip hop is
Wait,
he?
wait, hold on. Can
It's
I?
like It's like imagine young Nas.
Zach, if we go to your website for more than just Hop Heroes, can you tell me what else it's for and what you have on? Like,
That's what
Sure.
well, no, I know
there's-
that's what he's saying, but I'm just wondering, like, you're just promoting like all kinds of artistic
Right.
things in general,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So anything you like could be found on there.
Sure, yeah, and it's for artists too. I mean, it's basically a place to put art in and then have people come and check it out. We have 2 photographers, 3 podcasts, and we're growing. I have a guy that's writing short stories for it now. Nothing's been published yet, but he's working on it. I have a novelist who's looking to join the crew. So
that's so cool.
Yeah,
so
and
much
it's
stuff.
really just we're looking for any artist who wants to be seen or heard, or if you feel like you're underrepresented, especially, I'm definitely looking for you to have a voice, and I'm trying to build a platform for that. So that's kind of where we're at, and rzenith.com. That's the flagship.
So not only do you get extra Hop Hero stuff, but you get like whatever you want. That's pretty awesome.
You just gotta dive into like it's like going to Fillory. It's just diving into a whole new
Pretty
world.
much.
Yeah, bro.
It's
Come,
artistic Fillory.
join our world. The lure of a king. The lure of a king.
lure
It's
of a
gonna
king.
freaking.
Okay, don't put that on there, Zach. Okay, we'll
it's
talk about
definitely
this.
Hands are in the
We
air.
will talk about this off the podcast.
Hands
I'm
are in
hitting
the
the
air.
mic. Okay,
Oh, it's
anyways,
definitely going
wrap
on
it
there.
up. No. Oh, god damn it.
Do we have any plugs for you, JR, before we sign off?
No.
Yeah, we're
fine.
getting a little saucy.
my
But
normal work
as
stuff.
always, shout out to Action City Comics. Thank you so much for your support. Shout out to all your local comic book shops. Don't ever purchase comics online. Go to your comic book shops, support them. We need to keep that community alive because it's the best community there's out there. And follow us on at Hop Heroes Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook. Follow us on Hop Heroes. All you gotta do is search Hop Heroes. You'll get so many good things. So many good things.
So
brought to your
many.
life.
And go to
rzenith.com.
Ourzenith.com, motherfucker.
spell it out for me, will you? Is it R like
Our Zenith. So
ZENNITH.
Ooh, there's 2 N's.
Wait, there's 2 N's?
I was ignorant on Zenith spelling.
Wait, is there 2 N's? Zach has to
Yes,
look it
there
up.
is.
Excuse me.
I had to double check.
OURZENNITH.com.
I definitely had to double check it.
Okay, there's 2 N's, guys.
Plug right there.
And
Wait,
it's
No, there's only
our,
1 in.
not
Fuck, I
or.
fucked up. There's 1 in.
There's one!
Oh my god!
ZENITH.
I love it.
Yeah, this
I was like, 2 N's doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
But, all
blurted
right.
that out. That's the beauty of it.
Ourzenith.com.
1 N.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
Thanks for having me, guys.